there. This is Liz, Life with Liz here at BCTV. I almost did it again. I do radio. Y'all know that. So thanks for joining me today. I'm very excited about a couple of guests I have in studio, but I want to go ahead and tell you why there is a connection here on Life with Liz with these two. Drum roll, right? Anyway, so in studio I have, let's just go ahead and do this. I have General Don Bolduc and his wife Sharon.
Yes. Hello.
Well, and Victor.
And
Victor.
Right.
Welcome to Life with Liz.
It's awesome to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And y'all know the reason that, well, there's lots of reasons you're here, right, with me today.
Yes.
But we have a connection, don't we? So folks, if they know me and all know, I have a son that is in the military, in the Army, Lieutenant Matthew Gabert, and he's deployed. And so y'all today are going to help me as a new mom, Blue Star mom, right?
Yes.
Who is struggling profusely, not really, but you know, with my son's deployment. Y'all are going to be my therapist today as
Absolutely.
well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just so y'all do know, I either can do the short or the long intro of you, General Bolduc. Which would you like?
The short one.
Well, one's from Wikipedia, the other's not.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's
You
try
choose.
this. Brigadier General Bolduc is a former commander of U.S. Special Operations Command Africa. During his 33 years of active duty, he received 2 awards for valor, 5 Bronze Stars, and 2 Purple Hearts, and survived numerous firefights, a bombing, and a helicopter crash. He is a self-described leader who admits his mistakes, learned from them, and keeps the faith with the people, family, and organization he serves. Does
That is
work?
correct.
That's a
that
good
works.
intro.
That's
That
very
works?
nice. That's
I wrote
very
it
nice.
myself, not
you
really,
did a
but
great
okay.
job. Awesome.
All righty.
It's a keeper.
Thank you.
And Sharon,
Yes.
is the beautiful wife
thank
of
you.
General Bolduc, isn't she?
Yes,
Oh
very
my
beautiful.
gosh. And
you.
Sharon is also the mother of y'all's
3 boys.
3 boys. Okay, but before we move ahead to y'all and the 3 boys and Victor and so forth, bear with me. Can y'all talk to me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how y'all connected? And
Yes.
we can begin with whomever.
We can do that. We can begin with Sharon.
Okay.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Lady, absolutely.
Okay, I was born in Massachusetts, but grew up in Rockingham County here in New Hampshire till I was a junior in high school. I went back to Massachusetts my junior year in high school, and I joined the Army at 17. And on my way back from the Army, I decided I wanted to go to college and be a nurse, so I ended up at Salem State College, Massachusetts. Should I go into meeting, or should I let you introduce?
go right ahead. Go right
okay.
into meeting.
Well, and that's when I met Don, but
Was in school.
in school at Salem State in the ROTC program.
Is that right?
It is.
Okey-dokey.
Yeah.
Meant to be, sounds like. Anyway.
She needs to tell you
Okay.
what she said to her mother after she met me.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
So I
It
can't.
adds to the.
It does.
Yeah,
It
adds to
does.
the
It adds
story.
to the story. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Probably about the 3rd day of ROTC, I came home and, well, at this time I was living with my mother because she's in Marblehead, about 4 miles from Salem State. Came home from the Army, moved back with my mom, and went to school. And I came home one night, we were getting dinner ready, and I said, I met the guy I'm going to marry today. And she said, oh, really? You know, as moms do. Oh, yeah? You know. And I said, yeah. She said, well, what's his name? And I said, well, I don't know, but when I find out, I'll let you know. But yeah, day one, I actually thought he was one of the instructors. And I leaned over to the girl next to me. I said, what's that instructor's name? And she said, instructor? He's a cadet. And I was like, oh, really? So then my interest was piqued, of course, because he wasn't off limits, you see.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, General Bolduc, you, or how do I, well, we'll figure out how
Call
I'm
me
supposed
Don,
to, Don,
please.
let's do that today, okay?
Let's do
Yes, thank you.
better.
We didn't prep that one. So, you robbed the cradle?
4 years younger.
But I was
Okay.
legal. I was legal, so
Okay.
it's all good.
No, this
all
is
good.
all good.
I didn't meet
Okay.
her. I didn't meet her until
We were in our 20s.
In our 20s.
Okay,
Right.
all righty.
So,
Okay, so that is how. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your earlier life before Sharon.
Well, I was born and raised here in New Hampshire, Laconia, the Lakes region. And I lived there, part of the Bolduc family. Bolduc Farm is very well known in that area. Learned my work ethic and values and everything from the Lakes region here in New Hampshire, which I carried with me everywhere I went. Graduated from high school in 1981. And 11 days after high school, I joined the military as Private Bolduc. And went from Private Bolduc to Sergeant Bolduc to Lieutenant Bolduc, and then the rest is history. In the ROTC program, I met Sharon, and you know, it was a whirlwind romance, right?
Love at first sight.
Love at first
Pretty
sight,
much,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Reminds me of the possibilities of love at first sight, and you know, clearly it was something that was meant to be, since we've been together for 31 years, right? So that can happen. It is a possibility, right? To fall in love at first sight, and then, you know,
so sweet.
have a wonderful life so far together.
Wonderful life.
And it's you know, I mean, it's great. It reminds me of the you know, the movie Frozen that I've watched 560 times with my grandchildren.
Yes, because you
right?
have a couple grandchildren as well,
Right,
y'all.
that's right.
Yes.
This morning was
We were
the
singing it today.
560th time.
Would you like to stand up
Yeah,
and sing?
I can.
yeah,
He
no,
could
no.
I
probably.
could play a role in that
okay.
movie. Play all of them, actually. I could do a skit. But anyways, it's you know, isn't it something that we, you know, that we all aspire to, that we all dream about? You know, these things. The American dream kind of sets us up for that, right? That anything is possible
Absolutely.
if you work hard.
Yeah.
And that's what we've both done our entire lives, is work hard, and we've done it together through thick and thin. You can't say that there weren't challenges. There's challenges in everything. It's about understanding those challenges, working through them, acknowledging your mistakes, and you know, continuing to move forward.
Absolutely.
That's what
Absolutely.
life is all about. That's what family's all about. I think family is hugely important. It's the cornerstone of our communities. And we need to invest in families, and we need to invest in communities if America's going to be strong. That's what we need to do. Right?
Absolutely.
So, anyways.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Wow.
But, you know,
Holy.
we met,
So-
really, we sealed the deal in our relationship at a New Year's Eve party.
Yes, we did.
Right?
Yes, we did.
And we were there. We weren't together yet, but you know, clearly, I
There
was
was
getting
an attraction.
some serious signals from her, right?
It's the other way around.
Yeah, it was. And I was reciprocating, right? I mean, it was just, you know, it was a mutual thing.
Y'all had not had a date yet?
No.
Oh, my
no,
heavens.
not up to that point, right?
Oh, okay.
And so this was New Year's Eve party with our ROTC cadets and other
I see.
friends.
Okay.
And I went up to her and I said, "Hey, I'll meet you over in the hallway at 12 o'clock, midnight," right?
Oh, you.
And I asked
anyway.
her.
Yeah, but I actually thought we were planning a military thing we had to attend, and I'm thinking, really? We're at a party and he's all military. That's what I was thinking to myself.
Y'all are both
all part of my
both
plan.
Army, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it's all part of my
Checking.
plan.
Okay.
All part of your plan.
So she said, "Sure." So she meets me in the hallway just before midnight. Midnight hits. I said, "Hey, you know, can I kiss you?" She said, "I don't know, can you?" I said, "Yep." That was it,
That was it.
right?
And then you
We
went
were
ahead
done.
and asked her to marry you, and you had the ring set and all that.
No,
No,
not-
no. That
not
came
for a
months
couple
later.
months.
That
Couple
Came
months.
months later, right? And then, yeah, it was awesome, right? It was an awesome opportunity
Yep.
to
That's pretty smooth.
to meet.
It was.
You know, right?
Yeah.
You know, I
Pretty
mean,
smooth.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, you know, I was just throwing stuff out there on
You
the
knew what you
wall
were doing.
to see if it stuck, right? And it stuck, and so it was good.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
And now, how many? What did you say? 33 years later, it is stuck.
Well,
31.
31 married, 32 years
Yeah.
together.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
32
I'll get
years
that.
That's
together
okay.
with all the dating stuff that goes
yeah.
along with it, right?
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
31 years married, right? Yeah, That's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you have it. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, that's a little more information maybe than I know.
I told you don't know where this is going to go.
I know.
Right?
Let's see. How much time? No.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Plenty.
No, this is great. All right. So moving ahead then, right? Well, Sharon. So your career. So let me hone. You're a nurse.
I am a nurse.
And so let me just ask you, so y'all connect, you marry, right? And then what's next?
The Army controlled the timeline to the marriage. I was originally supposed to go to the 82nd Airborne Division after I graduated from my officer basic course.
Okay.
But halfway through, they changed my assignment to Korea because they had a shortage of officers in Korea. And so the next thing I know, I get this phone call, said, hey, you're not going to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to the 82nd Airborne Division. Because I served there as an enlisted guy, so I wanted to go back there as an officer.
I
right?
see.
And I had that connection. Well, anyways, they send me to Korea for a year. Well, that's an unaccompanied tour for
go
a
by
year,
himself.
so I have to go by myself. So instead of a midsummer, late summer wedding
He
in
called me.
1989, we ended up pushing that months back to 7 January because I had to go to training before Korea and then to Korea for a year, and we wanted to get married. We decided that it would be better to be married before I
he
go to
left.
Korea
Yes.
than
Of course, it put my mother in a panic, as you
than
can
to wait
imagine,
a whole other year and get married in 1990. So
Right.
Yeah.
that was good. So that's exactly what we did.
Okay.
That's exactly what we did. We had a beautiful Catholic wedding in Marblehead, Mass.
So he was already a second
At the
lieutenant.
Star of the Sea Church. I was,
We got married.
Okay.
my ROTC cadet brethrens, who were then, lieutenants, were, the saber bearers and the, so we had a military wedding, and it was very beautiful. She looked awesome in her wedding dress. I mean, it was just great.
You were in your uniform then.
I was in my
Oh
uniform.
my goodness! Too bad we don't have pictures to pop up.
Yeah, we should have
should have
brought the
thought about
wedding.
that.
We should have
Next
brought the
time.
wedding
Think of it,
book.
yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful. What
Yeah.
a great. And so, Sharon, did you end up going then to Korea?
I went for a visit. I wasn't allowed.
visit.
I
Oh, it
wasn't
was-
allowed.
okay, sorry.
And I was
Okay.
actually still in school full time
Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
were.
because I'm behind him in school.
So
Of
now,
course, that's
now we transition to her and what she
Yeah.
was
Okay.
doing
Yeah.
at this
Yeah,
time.
and that's
Yeah.
where I was gonna. Okay, thanks
Yep.
for sharing.
So we got
All right.
married over my winter break.
Okay.
And then I returned to school as if nothing happened, just had to change my name.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Korea, and I was finishing at Salem that semester. I think I went over during spring break that year, and then again in the summer.
Okay.
So the policy was at the time, I think I could stay for 5 weeks or
Under 30 days.
or
Okay.
something like that. So, I took advantage. I stayed every bit of the 30 days when I was able. So I did go over twice to visit.
Sharon, had you ever been out of the country?
I had been out of the
You
country,
had.
yes.
I didn't know if you had.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, not to Korea, but I had been out of the
Korea,
country.
and it was probably
Yeah.
a little bit different place.
Yeah,
then
my mother
than
was
now
like,
as well.
yeah.
I'm guessing, but that's a whole
Oh, yeah.
nother.
And it's like it was like
right.
an 18-hour trip as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I didn't know. I was like, I'm just going.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my husband. I'm going. So my mother was like, are you sure you want to do that?
So you were there for how long then? Did you say?
Well, the first time only maybe 2 weeks, and then the second time I went for the 30 days.
Okay.
Because we timed it the second time on my rotation back to the States.
Okay.
So she stayed, and then we came back together on the plane.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yep.
Because by this time, we had our first son.
Ah,
We had a honeymoon baby.
Yes, we did. We were reckless and careless. getting in all the perceived,
Oh, okay.
all the
Yeah.
perceived
We
time
are-
away from each other.
Yeah. We're on. Remember,
Between
this is
right,
the
this is-
family
yeah,
TV,
this is
right?
From the
So-
7th to the 14th of January, we got it all in.
Okay,
right?
gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha. Oh yeah, and
Tracking?
so
So boom.
yeah.
So our
Right.
son was born in October of that
Okay,
year.
okay.
And I went back, like he said, right before they call it deroast, back to the States in March. And I brought our little baby with me
Oh my.
Little
so Josh was born in.
in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
then
Okay,
I
this is
flew
cool.
over,
Born in Massachusetts by the same doctor.
delivered by the doctor
that
who delivered me.
Is that right?
Isn't that
How
neat?
cool is
Talk
that?
about family. You talk
You
about
know,
really neat,
communities.
you know?
You talk about,
Dr.
you talk
Jenkins,
about
can I do
meant
that?
to
Can I give a
be,
shout out
right?
on?
I mean, holy mackerel,
And
you know?
it was he retired right after that.
Yeah,
You know.
that was
He'd had
it.
enough
He
of it.
couldn't take it.
The Bolduc.
Now,
He's like, yeah.
Now my first son. If you know my first son,
No.
you know he's done that to a lot of us. Right? I mean, he wears you out, right? You know what I mean?
Okay, I got it now. All righty, so there's child number 1, and then y'all keep cranking here. So what's next?
So then, military move after
Yep.
military move.
Yep.
I had a break in schooling for a while because the nursing program, if anyone knows, I mean, it's pretty consistent 4 years.
Okay.
You know, you have to do your 2-year clinicals kind of consecutively.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to do that because our first assignment took us to Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Okay.
Was that Fort Bragg or Fort Benning? Fort Benning, Georgia.
Benning.
Yeah, see, I've even
What'd you
lost
say?
track. Our first assignment together was
No, it was
Fort
at Fort
Benning.
Devens
Oh, see, I've missed one.
Okay.
Gee
Fort
whiz.
Devens,
Fort Devens,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
with 10th Special
Hey, after
Forces Group.
15,
Okay.
17 moves, you lose count.
Of course you do. How many? 17? Is that what you
About
said?
that.
17.
17 or
About
18. I
Yeah.
think 18 if you include our last
Retirement.
move into retirement.
Yeah,
right, which
yeah.
is a move.
Sure it is.
So
sure
by
it
the
is.
time
So-
I was able to get back to nursing school, we lived in Tennessee.
Right. Fort Campbell,
I
Kentucky.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
So-
a young captain on a Special Forces team, and I was gone a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Joshua was, 3 years old
When we moved there, yeah.
when we moved there, and I struggled with, leaving my wife
Sure.
with another child, and so we waited until our
Well, I was-
assignment in Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
and then we said, well, let's have a second kid. By that time, 7 years between the first
Is that
and the
right?
second. Right.
Wow, y'all just
Right.
really.
Well, actually, I got pregnant my senior year in nursing school because I said, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm graduating this year. Do we want another child?
And no recklessness. So this is
No.
good.
This
right?
was planned.
This was a conversation. We had a conversation.
We actually
Well,
discussed it.
7 years, I'm thinking.
Yes,
no recklessness
exactly,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Right,
all right.
right.
So and then
So this is
Zachary
good. Okay.
Zachary came.
Zachary came.
I
Child number 2.
Yep. And then
So
and
you have a, what would that be? 7-year-old. and a
30-year-old, 23-year-old.
yeah, she's saying at the time,
What?
I'm not
7-year-old,
asking-
and I was
yeah.
pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have a 7-year-old and a newborn.
And a newborn.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Now is when things start getting interesting, in my opinion, with moves and military life. I'm
Right.
guessing as
Yeah, we're still going all over the place.
yeah, but they're young. They're young, so
We end up in
right?
Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
and we decide to have another child.
Okay.
And so Matthew
Is how
was
many
planned
years?
and born.
2.5 years between
All right.
2.5
Zach
years
Matthew.
between.
And that was
Okay.
our reason. It was like there was such a gap between the oldest and the second one
Yes, you need to.
that I said it would be really nice if Zachary
Sure.
had a friend to grow up
Absolutely.
with. You know.
So in
Okay.
birth order, our family's crazy because our oldest boy has grown up thinking he's been, kind of an only child
Sure,
mentality.
sure.
Yeah.
And so our second child has the traits of a firstborn, and our
That makes
our
sense.
youngest
Yeah.
boy has the traits
It
of the
happens.
second boy.
Right.
Well, it doesn't matter much for him. He's the youngest.
Right.
Either
Yeah.
way.
Either way.
right?
The baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the
the
baby, right? And so it's just interesting, right?
You bet.
And they take on those traits. Those traits are pretty accurate.
Yeah,
all the studies they've done and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for some insight, right?
Absolutely. So what I then
And they're all different.
and they're all different.
It's unbelievable.
As they
Who's your
should be.
favorite?
As they should be.
Who's your
Oh,
favorite?
trust me.
Victor.
Victor's always my favorite.
We haven't gotten to Victor yet because
no.
he comes later
No, he
on.
comes
Oh, trust me, they have their own opinions on who's the
the
favorite, and it gets thrown in our face all the time, right? No, I just
So,
say, hey,
yeah.
listen, I love you all.
Of course.
Yeah, there's no
Sometimes
favorite. They're
I
very
like
different.
you more
yes,
than the other one.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
just
It's
depends on what's going
situational.
on.
This, yes,
Situational.
exactly. Okay, so
They're wonderful.
moving ahead with all this, then now you've got 3 kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
And yes, and that kind of changes things. I mean, I know this.
Exactly.
I've traveled and moved around, not as much as y'all,
Yeah.
but. And especially with your career,
Right.
Right. So this is where I kind of wanted to
Well, it
go.
kind of highlights
Yeah.
the sacrifices that she makes right up front, right? She makes a
Oh.
sacrifice for school. She's moving around with
Yes,
me. She makes a
yes.
sacrifice every single time. There's
Absolutely.
a sacrifice by her that has to be made, that has to be highlighted.
Yes.
And that's why, the family aspect of this is
Yes.
so
Yes,
important.
this is-
Absolutely.
And then, do I work?
Very typical of
Do I
military
work? Do I not
families.
work?
Okay, now you can stop.
All right, I'm stopping.
Because it's Sharon's turn.
Yeah, go ahead, dear.
That's what I do with my dog.
Yeah.
Stop.
That's right. Just tell me to
Down.
stop. I'll stop.
Sorry. So Sharon.
Yes.
Yes. As a woman, wife, and mother, with all of this going on, how'd that all go for you as the head of the household? Because that's really when Dad and such.
It doesn't matter
It's
if
a
I'm there or
dual,
not. She's the head of the household.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
though. That's what I'm saying.
I have to
know
play
how
a
this
dual
works.
role. And,
Household 6.
Yes. So
it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie,
Yes,
it's difficult. You have to make compromises among within your family because, I mean, I have to be, Mom. You want to give your kids everything, right? But yet you have to keep reminding yourself, oh wait, I have to play Dad here too, so I have to play the tough role as well.
Yes.
Traditionally that's how it is. I'm not saying it's always that way,
Right,
but for
right.
me, that was my upbringing. So it certainly was the way I was raising my children.
Because my assumption is, without interrupting, because we're going to keep going,
Yep.
is that he was gone a lot.
All the time.
Yes, that,
I mean, he
that
really
would be
was,
my
all the time.
assumption.
I mean,
without having been, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
even before 9/11, the training tempo within special forces is very high.
Yes.
So he was gone a lot. Missed the birth of the first child. Was supposed to be in Africa during the second child. He had a commander who sent him home at the last minute and said, "You don't want to miss this one." So he would have been gone. Third child, we were in a different situation. He was at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., so he was home for that. But shortly after Matthew was born, 9/11 started. So you can imagine it went from just a high training tempo
Yes.
to combat deployment tempo.
And intensity, real intensity.
So
right.
I mean, it was tough at times. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not,
No, and that's what
Wonder Woman, but I realized very early on, I'm all they got right now.
Yeah.
So I got to give it my best, or it's not going to work. So I put my career aside. I dove into the military programs just to support our military families who were just like me, struggling with kids at home while their spouses were gone.
What kind of programs are we talking about? Because I'm just learning about this myself.
Well, they do everything from, like, there was a point in time where I was volunteering for the Red Cross as a nurse. And there's a program that I could get my child care compensated so that I had the opportunity to do that, which was very good for us to be able to do that. We needed a break. We were on 24/7.
Absolutely.
We didn't live near moms and dads, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. We had nobody but each other to rely on.
Right.
And I will say we're very good at that, relying on each other. The military is definitely a family unit. That's your family away from home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I could rely on any of those. In our case, it was women because Special Forces at the time was all men. So the spouses were all women. And I could pick up the phone, I could knock on a door at any time. I'd have a sitter, someone to let my kids, in the house if they got off the bus, if I wasn't home, if I need groceries and didn't have a car. I mean, this is what we did for each other, always. So we did have that, but everybody's dealing with their own stuff, And at one point, all our husbands were deployed together. So we just had all we could do to get by day to day. You get through it. You get through the other day. You wake up and you do it all over again.
Right.
But
now, did you did y'all move a number of? So you did 17 moves, you said, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but that's another kink, right?
It is another
when you have
kink.
to make a move
Absolutely.
like that because it's new families, new people,
new everything, new hairdresser, new
schools.
dentist, new,
Oh, God, I
you
know
don't
all
think
about
of,
that.
right?
Yeah,
all
oh,
that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
such a pain
but
in the neck.
But the kids, right?
Yes,
in schools.
exactly.
And so this is where,
Exactly.
and now, kids
Yeah.
are getting older, I presume. They
Oh,
don't.
yes.
They're not staying
yes.
these
and
little
they
ages.
start to
And it
voice
gets
their
more-
Oh, yeah,
opinions
absolutely.
about,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to go. I like my friends
Right.
here, and
Yeah,
you know
so
that
there's even more.
definitely complicates
You
and just
bet.
adds another layer of
Yeah.
difficulty. But
You're amazing. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, they learn to,
thank
yeah,
you.
they
You
learn to
married
be
right.
resilient.
Of course
do.
they
It's-
do.
it's
I
a
know.
double-edged
I mean,
sword.
I've done it,
You know,
not at all, but
Excuse me.
I know this.
Yeah.
But still, it's
And a
very,
one- and-
difficult.
you know, they say it's a small world. Well, it's a small military too, and thankfully, almost every place we have moved to, there has been someone that we knew from a previous assignment.
Is that right?
So it's nice to,
that's
like,
good.
oh, remember so and so? Well, they're here too.
And the same
Kinda-
challenges
Okay.
You know,
that keep military families close and together are the very same challenges
Yeah.
that break that family down too, right?
Right.
And you know the divorce rate, separation rate in the military is
high.
very high
Yes.
as a result of operations tempo, as we call it.
Okay.
The family, you know, being separated and being apart.
Right.
And then again, some, you know, decisions that have to be made about, you know, careers for the spouses, and, you know, do you stay in
yeah.
for 10 years?
Yeah.
Do you
Get a
retire?
retire,
You know,
yeah.
what is it you're going to do?
Yeah.
And all these things are factored in, their pressures, and it is, you know, it's just something that has to be worked out.
Absolutely.
And it comes with its challenges,
Yeah.
but it also comes with its rewards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Definitely.
And so, you know, I've been very fortunate, and I know I'm very fortunate. I talk about it all the time about Sharon and you know the type of mother she was to the boys. Hey, when the boys have a problem, even to this day, they don't call me. They call her.
Even though I encourage them to.
I might answer the phone, and I get, hey, Dad. I go, hey, what's up? Is Mom home? You know? Yep, she's here.
Well, they're just more
Right.
comfortable.
So give her the phone, right?
Well, it makes sense,
Yeah,
though,
it does make
right? I
sense.
mean, it
It
does.
does.
It's
And so that's
Absolutely.
hugely important. And the thing that you have to do if you're in my shoes is not interfere with that.
And that can create conflict.
Let it
if
happen.
you-
Absolutely.
You got to let it happen.
No, I know
right?
this too.
You go in there,
Yes.
you know, and
Yes.
and you know, it's very hard to sit in a room after you've been gone for so long and have, you know, your wife say, "Where's Daddy?" to the little boy, and he points at a picture.
And he's
Yeah,
really
I'm
sitting
laughing,
right
but
there.
And doesn't point at you.
You bet.
Right?
Yeah.
No, this is serious
Right?
stuff. Yes, yes.
Or you're, you know, in the commissary shopping for food, or you're in the PX, and they see somebody in uniform, and they go, "Daddy!"
Yeah, they
right?
run up because you know,
Yeah,
that's-
because of the uniform.
Right.
And they're too young to make the distinction between the two, right?
Sure.
And so you just gotta, you know, take a step back, and you gotta understand that's the reality of the situation. It's
Right.
you know, you know, and it's tough, right? And when they're having tough times, you know, they're gonna go to the parent that they feel is reliable in their lives, is a constant in their
Sure.
lives. You know, my oldest boy would be afraid to be left with me because I might leave.
Oh, because he was more aware
Right,
of
and
all
he might
this,
be left
wasn't
alone.
he?
He's thinking,
He's like, well, wait a minute, Mom.
wait a minute,
Well,
Mom's leaving. She's always the one here. I'm going to be left with my
goodness.
dad. What if he gets a call and he has to leave? Right? He's
Right.
thinking this.
Something
and
that
this.
most
Sure.
people don't think about, obviously.
I had never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to say, hey, you know, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm
Take
not
it
going
easy.
anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's all right. And, you know, you got to do the old distraction, right?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Kids start crying.
Right,
You
right.
got to look at this over here, right?
Yes, of course.
So-
Okay, so question here then, moving ahead,
Mm-hmm.
is as your boys are getting older, and granted, you've got quite an age span here, but you know, as we hit preteen, teens, you know, age, and all of this, it had to be even that much more difficult. I'm guessing because we've got the changes, you know, all of this
Sure.
stuff.
I was gone most of their
of those-
preteen and teen lives.
Were you really?
Gone.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
My
I
oldest
was
boy
fairly
has
lucky.
a real issue with that.
I think I was.
My youngest boy has an issue with it. They still struggle with the fact that I
Okay.
wasn't around. My middle boy has no issue with it. He's like,
Well, I said, I understand. It was Dad's job.
Dad's
And
job.
The other
Okay.
two, obviously, they understand that.
course,
It's just,
but-
you
yeah.
know, you lose a lot not having your dad around
bet.
during those
Yeah,
times.
but at
you
that
know?
time, I mean,
critical
the whole-
times. 9/11 hit, and my oldest was in 6th grade.
Right.
That's
You
critical.
know, and what the difference is, too, today.
And the 101st Airborne Division, in my opinion, completely overreacted to force protection requirements.
Here we go. No.
I'm gone, she's home, and they set up,
There were tanks in front of the middle school.
yeah,
It
and
was kind of a lot.
and machine gun positions.
Yeah, it was kind of a lot.
And she had to drop him off, and he had to walk through this gauntlet of soldiers.
Which
and,
one is this you're
My
talking?
oldest.
Your
The
oldest.
oldest, yeah.
Oh, my heavens.
And so, you know, hey, I'm all
Yeah.
for force protection, but there was an overreaction there that had a negative imprint on
Sure.
kids, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't talk to them about this, they're wondering, you know, what's going on. It's like,
course.
you know,
And of
this-
course,
it's a
none
scene
of
out
us
of
thought
Red
to
Dawn.
talk about it
right?
at the time. You know,
Right.
we just.
Well, you're just
this is the way it was. I'm just
day
surviving
to
one day to the next.
Absolutely. I get that. I
And-
do.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, constant searches of vehicles coming in, even, oh, hi, Mrs. Bolduc, how are you? You're going to have to get out of your car again, and, you know, we're going to have to search the whole car, right? And, you know, the kids go through all of that,
Yes.
right? So that's, you know, that leaves an imprint, right?
bet
and that
it
leaves
does.
you know, and then, of course, your dad gets, you know, wounded twice, and, you know.
You can't talk to 'em,
memorial
so-
ceremonies for our men, you know, and so they know people are getting killed and injured and all of this. This all plays into it, right?
Gosh.
And so
Yeah.
we have a generation of military kids and families that have gone through this, really without the benefit of any true discussion.
Yeah, or a good support for that.
And so it is what it is.
And you know what
but-
else? Sorry to interrupt you, but the difference, too, I think about, sorry.
Yeah. No, this is
You're
and
looking
other
at me like,
generations went through
no,
it.
I didn't do it again. No, is that, you know, today and for the last, 10 years, you know, and technology has advanced, so you have the internet, right?
Sure.
And you can FaceTime and, right? Which I know there's net downsides to that.
Exactly.
But holy moly, for y'all,
Yes,
I would have
exactly.
thought being able to FaceTime Dad,
Right,
like they
right.
can do and have been able to do for a few
Right.
years now,
Right.
would have helped.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It does help. That
course it helps.
connectivity helps.
You bet.
And I went out of my way as a commander to
Yeah.
make sure that we had those things available for our service members to be able to communicate with their families
Right.
on a regular basis, right? There are those out there that tried to interfere with that. Oh, it's a security violation. Oh, it's
Yes,
this. Oh,
yes.
it's that, right? Well, not if you do it right, and not if you know. To me, I just didn't see it as detrimental to the mission. I saw it as positive
Yes.
to the mission, and it just makes up.
Definitely.
You know, it's just good. It's
You bet.
good for the psyche.
Morale.
We have
It's
this
good
thing
morale.
called the psychology of war, right? And it's everything about the effects of war and morale and so on and so forth. And in particular, when one of my teams, had someone seriously injured or lost somebody, and after the notifications to family members were done, allowing these guys to call back home via Skype,
Is that what you had? I mean,
whatever. Yeah.
at that time, yeah.
And whatever it started out with first, and then went to Skype, and this. I mean, it
Yeah,
got
yeah,
better and
yeah.
better.
Yeah, it
right?
does.
But
Yeah.
it was nothing visible at that time still, right? Or did
Well,
there?
after 9/11, it wasn't.
Okay.
After,
No,
right after 9/11.
not right after
but
9/11.
It progressed, and
It
we
progressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And remember, I mean, I deployed right after 9/11, 2001. My last deployment to Afghanistan was middle of 2013.
Goodness.
And I get credit for a total of 10 deployments, total of 66 months in Afghanistan. But, Grenada, Persian Gulf, other things, I have a total of 81 months of combat, which is a lot, right, for any one person. But that's where my country needed me, and that's where I needed to be in order to feel as if I was contributing, right? And that's hugely important. So kids don't understand that. You know, Dad thinks that's more
course.
important than being home
Of
with
course.
me and my baseball game, my wrestling, my football, this, that, and the other thing, right?
Right.
And it's hard for them to
Absolutely.
rationalize that. And Sharon was very good at explaining it to them. But, you know, there just still is.
Mom's still not dad.
Yeah.
Mom's still not dad.
Still not
right?
dad.
And
Yeah.
dad's not mom,
Yeah.
right? And it, you know, it works both ways.
Yeah.
And so I saw in my unit the difficulties that families had with reconciling all this and understanding this. And I did everything I could, everything within my power to mitigate that and balance it, right? Here's one of the things that I did that was controversial with the leadership.
Okay.
I had 2 deployments to Afghanistan as a battalion commander, right? May of 2005. We went for 9 months, came back. We had a short 6-month break and then went back for another 9 months, right? During that 6-month break, I told my teams that you can do training during the day, but you'll be home at night. There'll be no overnight training. There'll be no training away from Fort Bragg. You will be home with your family at night. And there'll be no training over the weekends. And that's just the way we're going to do it. We have just spent 9 months in the combat zone that we're going to go back to. We'll use that 6 months to hone whatever skills we need to hone between Monday and Friday, and we can do it all during the day, right? I don't care if you have to start at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday and go to, 6 o'clock at night. That doesn't matter to me. But you will be home for dinner, and you will be home overnight with your family. End of discussion. Now, I got a lot of pushback on that. And I was told by one of my senior leaders, oh, good luck briefing that to General so-and-so. And I said, well, that's what we're doing, right? Because, and that's important, right? And I briefed the family readiness group, right? The wives, right? And I told them exactly what I was doing, right? Now, I got them on my side.
They loved him.
There was a method to his madness, wasn't
Do
there?
do not go against them.
Yes.
For fear.
So
you think the
smart.
Taliban's
Oh my
tough.
gosh.
You think
Telling
the
you.
Taliban stuff, deal with this group. You're in trouble, right? And so,
Some tough women.
and so
good
yeah.
people.
And they love that, right? And that's what we have to do. We have to realize. The other thing I did was, families that were having a baby, and the baby was due within the first 30 days of deployment, they stayed home until after the baby was born. Because nobody's going to miss the
That was
birth
huge.
of their child.
And I can tell you that never happened to
I said,
us.
No, you don't.
likewise,
Right.
if the child is going to be born 30 to 45 days before the end of the rotation,
They went home early.
they went home early. And then if they were being born during the deployment, right?
Right.
You figure out, commanders, how to get them home for the birth of their child and get them back, right?
And so is that law now? Yeah, I'm
No.
not gonna-
Oh, no.
No, I got
man.
investigated.
Oh, no.
I got investigated
Because I'm
for
sitting
it.
here thinking about my
Yeah.
son in the
Yeah.
future,
Hopefully
right?
as a very nice commander.
Oh no! Why
will
didn't you
stick up
stay
for
in
us.
and get that
can
in
do this.
writing?
Yeah.
We can do this.
It's not hard.
Implemented.
It's not
And
hard.
I said, hey, it's about taking care of families. And we did a number
Yes.
of other things
So critical,
that
right?
focused on the
It is.
family, right?
It is.
Like, commanders at the battalion level are only in command for 2 years, right? And that's their 2 years to do everything they can to get promoted, 1, to colonel, and 2, pick up another command at the brigade level, right? Now, when you leave that unit, most of the same people that came in, that were there when you came in, are still going to be there. And they're going to get another commander. And they're going to say, oh man, what's this guy's priority? gonna
Yes,
be?
yeah.
That's that guy's priority, And so any white space, blank space, on a training calendar, when a battalion commander's looking at it, is like, why aren't we doing something here? Why aren't we doing something there? Plug something in there, plug something in there. Oh, there's no white time, right? And you got to say, hey, take a chill pill, man, right? And make sure that white space
That there is white space.
is family time, right? And you got to do that. It's part of the big 3: people, family, mission. I used to think for years it was mission, people, family.
Right.
And then I started getting older, and I started thinking about it, and I started getting wiser as a commander, and I said, no, I got this backwards. If you take care of the people, if you take care of the families, the mission will take care of itself. And I found that that sequence is much better than the other sequence. And it focused me on balancing the right things inside the command so that we could balance. We all understand that, hey, we have a military we're in the military, we have a responsibility, and anything can happen. And boom, when that happens, we're all in, right? But there are the times where you need to, as a commander, from the highest level to the lowest level, work to balance. The military plays with deployment times, and this is what your son's going to realize. This is what you're going to realize. Operations tempo, right? They want 1 to 2, whatever it happens to be. If it's 6 months deployed, before you can deploy again, you have to be back a year. 1 to 2, right? 6 months.
I see.
The
a
ratio
year.
of
You see
time.
that ratio of time, right? Now, that's very hard to do, right?
Meaning for the military.
Yes,
to
it's
do.
very hard to.
Is that-
It's very hard for the military to do.
okay,
And different
okay.
services have different times, and different units have different times. So some are 3 months,
Okay.
some are 6 months, some are 10 months, some are 12 months.
Sure.
It just depends on the unit and where they're going and what the mission is,
Yeah.
right? So we really have to. That's one way to do it, but that often fails, right? The best way to do it is inside the unit, where the unit understands its people and their families and what their requirements are, and balances that with the mission requirements. And you can do it. And I found that was the most successful way, because I don't control the other thing.
The big
Right,
calendar.
right.
That's controlled by events that happen outside of my control.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's controlled by people above me who
Yeah.
make those decisions.
Powers that be, that's right, yeah.
And so I can't
Yeah.
control that. But what I can control is that schedule.
Yes.
And that's what I did, you know? And
Can you jump back in and go over where my son is now?
I'm standing ready.
You
I'm
know.
keeping myself fit. I'm working it. I'm staying up on
Okay,
current
yeah,
events.
so when they call you, you're ready.
I'm waiting
you
for
know.
the call.
Okay.
I'm young enough to go back in there and
I might have to put
move
some
forward.
good words
I
in for you.
might object.
Yeah.
I might.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
I'd
man.
pick up a rifle and stand the post in a heartbeat.
I believe you. I believe. Okay, so
take the
you know what? What we're going to do here now, because I know that you want to have the time to do this, is we talked about y'all's family, right? And but there is another family that you want to talk about here.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so with the time we have left, let's do that.
So
okay?
Sharon hit on it, and she hit on it really well.
Okay.
And that's the military family.
Okay.
And what that military family does for you, right? In times of crisis, in steady state times, and in good times, and you know, it is so important, right? And we have been in combat now in Afghanistan for 19 years, in Iraq now with an extension into Syria for the last 17 years, and of course not as long for Syria. We've been doing the same kind of things in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria in Africa, which is often forgot about because it's not a combat zone. But our men and women in the military and those that serve in the civilian ranks of our Department of Defense and in our Department of State are doing, and other agencies are doing such great work, right? And they're doing the same work. The environment is the same in Africa, you know, going against violent extremist organizations to protect our partners, our allies, and America, right? And this is hugely important. That comes with consequences. And these consequences are lives, right? And in my time as a commander in Afghanistan and as a division level commander in Africa, I lost service members, a total of 72. Right? I lost 3 service members in Africa, and I lost 3 to suicide, and the rest were from Afghanistan. Okay, and you have to be able to deal with that. in Afghanistan, some of them were standing with me on the ground, right? Some of them, you know, I was back in the headquarters monitoring the operation, right, as a higher level commander. But nonetheless, these men and women were doing what I asked them to do. And I didn't bring them home. And that also takes a toll. And so you can't talk about military life without acknowledging the military families and the sacrifices they do. You have the Blue Star families, and you have an organization here in New Hampshire that does great work. You have the Gold Star families, organization here in New Hampshire that does great work. Extend that to New England and to the rest of the country. It's pretty awesome, right? But these men and women here that I have memorialized in here are part of my why. And why, and I know they're part of Sharon's why. And although doing the right thing for my family is part of my why, I extend it to the men and women who didn't come home, who gave the ultimate sacrifice, something that I didn't do. And every single day of my life, I say to myself, I will not do anything to dishonor the service and sacrifice that you and your families have made. I will continue to focus, work hard, never quit, and move forward to ensure that your memory is always honored, right? And I think that's hugely important because these are men and women who did what we asked them to do. They are men and women whose families miss them. And you know, we're getting ready here to celebrate the life of a fallen Air Force captain, Captain Fenoff, right, from the Hudson area, and a police officer that also is from the Hudson area but worked in Virginia. And they sacrificed their lives serving for something that they loved, right? And that's what they did. And so everything I do, working for veterans, everything that we do working for veterans, everything that I do at New England College to teach my courses and to help my students and to make that college proud to have me there, and the things that we do to strengthen our families in the community that we live here in New Hampshire, everything is dedicated to them. And that's what gets me going, because I believe everybody has to have a why. What wakes you up in the morning, what gets you to do your thing. You just have to think about it for a little bit. And part of my leadership course in New England College, my students write what their why is. And we go through a whole drill about what is your why. And this has been the first time that many of them have thought about their why, right? What's your vision for life? What's your mission for life? What's your why? What's going to be your leadership approach that keeps you connected? And then how are you going to get that done every single day to be a better version of yourself? And it is through them, and this wonderful woman sitting next to me, that I am able to stay focused and be a better version of myself. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Victor.
We're getting there.
As a key part of that mission.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
That is what that means to me. And I know every veteran out there and service member that has the opportunity to watch this and family member will identify with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you mind me asking what we have here? So you know, be careful. You're going to get unhooked.
So this
Don't
here
lean far.
was the first thing I did, and the three names over here were the first three service members that I lost serving with me in Afghanistan in 2001, and then the names that surround it were other deployments, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th deployments just added to it. And then it got to the point where I couldn't add any more names. So I went to these boxes, and these boxes have in it the dog tags, identification tags, dog tags that we wear around our neck, of all 72 service members, as a visual reminder of the sacrifice they made and the price that they paid and their families paid, and the obligation that I have, right, to honor what they've done. And this American flag here has been flown over 90 plus locations in Afghanistan and in Africa where all my guys served. As a visual reminder for me, in the form of the American flag, the red, white, and blue, that means so much to the men and women who serve. This flag is unbelievable. This flag is a symbol to everybody in the world about life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, justice, fairness, and what America stands for. And it is a respected flag no matter where we go. Only a small portion of people outside of the United States, and unfortunately inside of the United States, don't honor this flag. But at the end of the day, it is our rally call. It is a symbol of freedom, justice, liberty, sacrifice. And that's why I keep it right here, because every single one of those people in here served where that flag was flown. Different places, different times, but they served.
That
And
is
God bless them all.
beautiful. That
right?
is beautiful.
So this symbolism is, like I tell my students and everybody else, is hugely important in life, right? And it is what will keep you moving forward, thick and thin, right? You fall down, pick yourself up, keep moving forward. And it's all part of a larger plan. You just have to figure out how you're going to use it to help others.
Absolutely. And in
That's what it's all about.
And this country, right?
Right, yeah.
If you can't do it here,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't do it anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
and you can, right?
You can do it here.
can
You
do
bet you
I
can.
lived the American dream.
Yep.
My wife lived the American dream. I went from Private Don Bolduc to General Don Bolduc, from the bottom of an organization to the top of an organization. That is the American dream, and that's what I want to be able to contribute to my community and to my country now in a little bit different way to make that a reality, right? For everybody in every profession. We have to believe. We have to believe in that. It is so strong and powerful. And if you do believe in it, you'll get there. You just can't stop believing. You got to roll up your sleeves,
Yep.
get the job done.
Absolutely.
Don't wring your hands. Don't be a hand wringer, because
Don't
you
be a
can't do
hand
both
wringer.
at the same time. Try it. Try it. I can't do it, right? So figure out which one you're going to be.
Yeah.
I recommend roll up the sleeve kind
Yeah.
of person.
I like it. I like it.
So,
Absolutely. Okay.
Now, I couldn't do that without her, by the way.
Well,
Couldn't do any of that without her.
I
She's been
can-
my strength.
there is no doubt about
Right.
that.
She's
There
been
is
my
no doubt.
strength.
Yeah.
I think he gives me
I
a
am
lot
the
of
man
credit.
I am
though.
today
I
because
appreciate it.
of the women in my life. My grandparent, my grandmother, both of them, my mom, and my wife. Strong. I like to call them hard as woodpecker lips. Right? They're
Did
hard.
he just make that up?
No.
Oh, hard as
wood.
That is-
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
that
a
is
saying
really
in the
funny.
military.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
They're hard as woodpecker lips.
I've not heard that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now the
He'll-
1st
he'll
time.
get to it.
Okay.
He'll get to it. He'll get to it.
I
There's
think
all kinds
I
of
need
sayings
to get
in the
my phone
military.
and text that to him right now.
He's going to hear it from an NCO,
Yeah.
not an officer.
Yep.
And
This
it
is-
refers to the women. Or who does it
Well,
for?
no, anybody
Anybody.
that's
okay.
hard charging.
Anybody that's hard
Hard
charged.
as
Oh my
woodpecker
Lord, that
lips.
works for me. Okay,
hard
I
as
like
woodpecker
it.
lips.
I will never forget that, Don
She's
Bolduc.
hard as woodpecker lips. Think about it, woodpecker lips. Brrr. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. That is so good. It is. I
I'm
love
full
that.
of those. I'm full
Yeah,
of them.
he
He's
is.
full of it.
Oh,
Or
Yeah,
those?
yeah,
both.
yeah.
That too.
Both.
Okay. All right. So we have just like a couple more minutes. You know what? Can we talk about Victor a little bit?
Sure.
Can we just kind of wrap it up with
Sure.
a little bit
He
about
doesn't mind. Look
Victor?
at
He
him.
seems to be
He's so
very,
cute.
Comfortable.
very much so,
Yeah.
right?
So Victor knows he has that vest on. He knows he's working.
Okay.
But at the same time, he knows when he should be resting to get ready for the next event, right? And so that's what he's doing right now.
Really?
He's very comfortable
this
right
is
here.
non-threatening
He's
for him, so
resting.
he's trying to
He's already assessed
rest.
the situation in here.
He even
knows
likes me?
He loves
He
you.
does.
Otherwise,
Oh,
he
he
wouldn't be
does.
sitting
Otherwise,
there.
yeah.
Victor loves everybody. You know.
He does. He's a good boy.
Unfortunately, not everybody loves Victor. It's just the way it is, right? But
Who would
Victor.
not love
It's
Victor?
okay. They'll get used to it.
Good question, but we run into him.
Okay.
Anyways,
We're not.
Guardian
not going
Angels,
there.
medical service dog
Yes.
organization, #1 service dog organization for the last 2 years in the United States, had the best service dog of the year, Alice,
Alice,
who got awarded that this past year. I received my service dog from them.
Okay.
Now, Victor was born, they set him aside for recipient Bolduc. I never met him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know what he looked like. He went through 18 months of training. After he's weaned off his mother, he goes into his federally mandated and regulated
Foster family.
foster family,
Okay.
social,
Get socialized.
socialized for 6 months. He passes that, then he goes on to his training. And he was trained for 18 months. I went down and paired with him for 2 weeks. The interesting part of that is, even though they train him for me, the dog determines the pairing, whether or not it's going to work.
Okay.
And so that can be upsetting if it doesn't happen and disappointing. But clearly, Victor and I hit it off. We got to go at that station. We moved on, and for 2 weeks, I paired with him and learned everything I was supposed to learn about him, feeding, caring, taking him through airport, planes, trains, and automobiles, doing all that stuff, right? Because he goes everywhere with me. He's federally trained, registered, mandated to do all of that. The only place he can't go with me is in an operating room, and
For obvious reasons.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But he is a great dog who provides a tremendous medical service for me. And I will say that any place that we go, he brightens up the entire space.
He's a
Right?
good boy.
Everybody loves him, right? And he's been trained because I was going to be doing, public speaking for veterans and teaching at school. So he's been trained to know the difference between this environment,
Right.
a classroom, and going
Like shopping.
shopping.
Yeah.
Right.
Or in an airport.
And so he acts accordingly. When we're home, I take off the vest. I give him the command, and so he knows that he can do anything he wants, and he does. He acts like a pet. The first thing he does is go find the cats.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So that's Victor.
There's Victor. Lady and gentlemen.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Bolduc.
Yes.
General Don Bolduc, thank you for joining me
Thank
here
you.
today. I mean, very.
Well, Liz, this has been an honor. It's been very fun. And I like it.
I've learned a
It's
lot.
awesome.
And I feel really good. And what's the woodpecker thing?
Hard
Hard
as
as
woodpecker
woodpecker
lips.
Okay. I think I got
You're going to
him.
get there.
Right.
You'll get there.
I'll get there. Thank you all again. Appreciate
you,
it a
Liz.
bunch.
It's an honor to be here. And my best to everybody that's out there that watches this.
Yeah.
God bless them all.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, well, you know what? That's it for today. Thank you for joining me here on Life with Liz. I think we're going to have a part 2 with the General, and it should be a little bit different, but just as interesting. And until then, God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless America.
Awesome. Live free or die, baby.
Yeah, there you go.